Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today we're talking about is Manchester City a big club? Now, when we talk about big clubs, what do we mean by a big club? What qualifies as a big club? Generally, people talk about three different factors. First is fan base, second is trophies, and third is history, in no particular order. I think trophies are generally considered the most important though, and fan base is second most important. But I want to add a fourth metric, recency, and I'll tell you why in a bit. But first, let's talk about the easiest to talk about in general, fan base. And let me share you my screen, because this is something that a lot of people just quite frankly don't seem to understand. Manchester City's fan base is not small. That is a complete lie that has been made up through social media, I suppose, by people who never go to stadiums. Here you can see the average attendances this season, and I'll show you of previous seasons in just a bit, and I'll tell you why. You'll see why, of course. Now, Old Trafford this season had an average attendance of 98% at a capacity of 74,800. London Stadium by West Ham had a capacity of 99%, which is, or had their capacity fell to 99%, on average, which is the highest of any club shared with the Emirates Stadium from Arsenal, also at 99%. Tottenham, yes, Spurs, had 97.5% of their stadium capacity filled on average this season. When you compare that to the Etihad is filled to 97% of its capacity on average. You can calculate this very easily, by the way. You just grab the total, the average attendance, and you divide by the total capacity. And there you go. And of course, you round up to above, it's 97%. Or 96.8% if you want to be very specific. So, Anfield is filled to 92% on average. If you're wondering, Stamford Bridge at 40,000 capacity is filled to 97% on average as well. So that is domestic fan base, and you can already see what I'm going to talk about in a bit here. Unfortunately, we did not win the FA Cup, but Stamford Bridge, of course, 97% at only 40,000 capacity. But that talks about domestic fan base. What about international fan base? Well, Manchester City is the most popular team, English team should I say, in the United States. It's the most popular team in England, in India. It's very popular in Belgium, where of course a lot of Belgians hate Liverpool due to the rivalry that Liverpool used to have with Club Brugge, and a lot of Belgians just hate Liverpool, so they go towards Manchester United and Manchester City. Manchester City is very popular among young people. It's the most popular club among young people in Manchester, by the way. Manchester City is very popular in Spain, more popular than Arsenal in Spain, more popular than Arsenal in Italy. So, when you look at that internationally, Arsenal still have the bigger fan base. You can cherry pick a few countries where Manchester City has a bigger fan base, of course, but overall, Arsenal's fan base is still bigger. Liverpool's fan base is still bigger. But what you have to look at is the young fan base. Really young fans. Just how many of them are City fans? Because those fans will grow up and they will be City fans when they're adults. And if City continues to win, that fan base will continue to grow. So Manchester City is going to, at some point, reach a level which is comparable, it's going to be on the same level of Arsenal and Liverpool and Manchester United. Just because they aren't there yet, doesn't mean they can't be there. Now let's talk about trophies, and I'll actually circle back to attendances right at the end, but it's a bit shameless on my part, so I'll skip to trophies for now. Major trophies. Now, if you're wondering, why is the Community Shield not counted? Very simple. The Community Shield is not played under the professional rules of the sport, which means it's not a real trophy. If you have professional rules that are in a sport that are mandated, then any tournament that is not played with those rules is not a real tournament. It's not a real trophy. The Community Shield is also a charity game. Many people don't know that. It's not a real trophy. You can't compare it to the Super Cup in Spain or to the Super Cup in Germany because they are played under professional rules. Very different. Very different from the Community Shield. With that said, Arsenal has won 30 major trophies in their entire history. Manchester City has 29. If they won the FA Cup, they would have caught up with Arsenal. Now, if you want to know about other Premier League clubs, I'll give you the Big Six rundown. Liverpool has 51 major trophies, Manchester United has 47, Arsenal 30, as I said, Manchester City 29, Chelsea 28, and Spurs 17. Now let's go over to Kevin De Bruyne quickly. Let me talk about Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne at Manchester City has won 16 major trophies. That is one short of equaling Spurs' entire trophy cabinet. So I just had to mention that quickly. And what I'll do now, I'll circulate back to attendances and I'll show you why. And this is something very interesting. This is before Manchester City was even bought. And you'll never believe this stat. Oh my god, fuck off. My browser does not want to work right now. Anyhow, what I'm trying to say is, if it doesn't want to load, Manchester City in season 2004-05 had a higher attendance. Yeah, Transfermarkt doesn't want to do it. Manchester City in 04-05 had a higher attendance, higher average attendance than Liverpool. Now, in case you don't quite get what I'm trying to say here, Manchester City, before being bought, had a higher average attendance than Liverpool. Small club? I don't quite get it. Now, of course, there's more to being a club than just having attendances, such as trophies, in which I've already demonstrated Manchester City is not that far away from Arsenal. They are one trophy away, only one trophy. Now, let's talk about history, because history is important as well. So let me open this back up. Look at the year 1976. What do you notice? At 1976, Manchester City had won 9 major trophies. That was only 2 less than Arsenal at the same time. Now let's open up Spurs, because they are in the same boat. This is Spurs' trophy cabinet. 1976. Spurs had only won 11 trophies, only 2 more than Manchester City at the same time. And, excuse me, if we compare it to Manchester United, albeit this is a bit more in favor of United than for us, but if we go to 1976, we see Manchester United, albeit they have won the big old years, which is special of course, only had 2 trophies more than us at 1976. Of course, the year after that they go on to win another FA Cup, but in 1976, Manchester City was 2 trophies behind Manchester United, who of course had the European Cup already. They were only 2 trophies behind Arsenal, only 2 trophies behind Spurs. So why did Manchester City fall off? Because Spurs, Arsenal and Manchester United had more money than Manchester City. Which is just the brutal truth. Money is what allows these teams to continue playing so well when Manchester City faced relegation over and over. Because they can't finance themselves. With that said, now let's look at the recency. because I think recency is also important. Manchester City, or better said, someone who started watching football in 2010 has never seen Manchester United win a Champions League. They have never seen Arsenal win a Premier League title. They have never seen Liverpool win a back-to-back title. Heck, you can go back to 1990 for that. Someone who has watched football since 2010 only remembers one team retaining a Premier League title, and that is Manchester City. They only remember one team as the treble winners, and that is Manchester City. They only remember one team going centurion, that is Manchester City. So when you look at the recency of Manchester City, you also have to say Manchester City is doing a lot better than their counterparts. So now you add all that up. Trophies, you're close. Manchester City is very close trophy-wise. Attendances, total attendances, it's a bit lower, but how much capacity you are filling, that's a bit higher. Now your capacity, like you can compare it with Old Trafford, with the Emirates and stuff. It's better than Anfield. Of course, Anfield is a bigger stadium, has more capacity. So Anfield has a bigger total attendance than Manchester City. Most of the times. Actually, not even most of the times. In 6 of the seasons where Pep has been at Manchester City, the Etihad has had a higher average attendance than Anfield. So not even most of the times, to be honest. Manchester City, if you look at everything that I have just talked about, history, recency, trophies, and a fan base, Manchester City, I would say, is currently the 4th biggest club in England. But they are only 2 trophies away of surpassing Arsenal. Winning the double next season, or winning Premier League and Champions League, or whatever, 2 trophies. Even if it's Carabao Cup and FA Cup, yeah. 2 trophies next season will put Manchester City ahead of Arsenal, assuming Arsenal don't win anything. With that said, that only puts you ahead in trophies, not in fan base yet. Though fan base is growing, as I have already touched upon. So with that, I'll let it over to you. You tell me what you think. Is Manchester City a bigger club than Arsenal, than Chelsea? Obviously we're bigger than Chelsea, come on. We have double the fan base, we have more trophies, we have twice the history, and we are recently more, by literally every metric, we are bigger than Chelsea. So obviously we're a bigger club than Chelsea. So now we are talking about Arsenal. Are we a bigger club than Arsenal? Are we getting close to being bigger than Arsenal? If we win 2 trophies next season, if we win the double, let's just say we win the double, does that make us bigger than Arsenal? I'll let it over to you guys to decide. And thank you for watching the video to the end. Please do like and subscribe, it helps the channel out a ton. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.